Welcome to the ESI Africa studio, broadcasting from Enlit Africa. Today I'm speaking with Jacob Irving, who is the President and CEO of the Energy Council of Canada. Welcome, Jacob.
Thank you.
So I want to start off with a little bit of a profile on the Canadian energy mix. What does that look like, and how many megawatts do you actually need?
Well, in Canada, we are blessed with all different forms of electricity. So I sometimes like to say, big or small, we do it all. And it's owing to many reasons. The fact we're the second largest country in terms of land mass on planet Earth. We have a very small population spread across it. By comparison, South Africa, population, my understanding of roughly 60 million. Canada, we are at 40 million. So we have fewer people than South Africa, but we are 8 times the size. So it's like the Lord of Rings movie where they say it's almost like too little butter spread across too much toast, I think sometimes. But what it also means is that every facet of energy we are involved in. It's the number one economic activity in Canada, energy development, export, and the like. So from oil and gas to wind and solar to nuclear to hydropower, you name it, we're involved in it. And we have a leadership position in many of those different forms of energy as well. Right. Our challenge, like everyone else, is to reduce our overall greenhouse gas emissions in the production and use of energy. And it's something that we like to engage with the rest of the world on. It's one of the reasons we're here, is to share some of our lessons and to also listen and learn from the way things are being done here. A lot of shared challenges, a lot of shared opportunities. It's good that we talk.
Mm-hmm. So you talk about the fact that your population is so widely spread across the country. Do you have any challenges with transmission then?
In terms of transmission, it's interesting. Transmission in Canada tends to be more north-south than east-west because we are located next to our neighbor and number one trading partner, the United States. And it's interesting, we actually are a net energy exporter. We have more energy than we need in every form, whether it's electricity or in hydrocarbons. And our number one trading partner is the United States. We send the United States more electricity than they send us. But they do send us electricity back. And it is a wonderful complementarity that we pursue. And it's actually, I think, one of those, we were just talking about it in our panel presentation, is, you talk a lot about electricity development, and a lot of it is about we're going to develop for us, by us. And we're going to get the jobs that come with it. And those are all very important conversations. We have those conversations in Canada all the time too. Sometimes what's easy to forget in the excitement of that kind of conversation is the cooperation you can have with your neighbors and how important that is, that you be interconnected to others and that when they don't need the power, you can use it and vice versa. Sounds simple, but there really isn't enough of it, I think, on planet Earth. And it's where you can use everybody's different strengths based on their regional endowments. Whether, in some places it may be fossil, in others it may be hydro or wind and solar. The more you can interconnect with your neighbors, usually the better off you are.
So a little bit earlier we were talking about the decommissioning of coal power stations, and this is something that Canada is undertaking. What are the strategies that you are using, and what could you share with other countries that they can then implement?
For us in Canada, there's a variety of approaches that are being taken, but really our challenge is to reduce our overall greenhouse gas emissions. We are in an interesting position as a net energy exporter, is that essentially the world needs our energy. The world in some case demands our energy. There's a lot of energy poverty outside the borders of Canada, where Canada could be a force for good, whether it's sharing our energy resources or helping other countries develop theirs. Because we're involved in everything, we have a huge amount of expertise that we can share. In Canada, for example, in any given year, sometimes we are the second largest hydropower generator in the world after China. So it's China first, Canada second. Again, given the strength of our resource base, the fact that we have a lot of water and we have a lot of elevation change. This is something that, and again, it's 60% of our electricity overall. It's our number one source of electricity. And of course, it's renewable and it's ultra low emissions, almost emissions free. And so we are able to convert from coal to other forms because we have those other forms available. So we recognize that. But also what we've been finding is we've been actually turning off coal-fired generation ahead of its end of life. So, and our governments have been involved in that. Producers who came and built coal-fired generation who've been told to turn off early, have been compensated by government and made whole, which has maintained a strong investment climate in Canada. That's key. You can't go changing your generation mixes and not offering certainty to those who built them. Otherwise, you won't attract more. So, but we've managed to do that, and we are replacing a lot of our coal-fired generation with new renewables, with wind and solar, for example. And one of the reasons why is because in the new world, and with the extreme drops in prices in wind and solar, it actually makes more economic sense for us to adopt that technology over coal. So in many places, even if we could replace existing coal with new coal, we wouldn't, based on the economics of it. And for us, I was mentioning earlier that, there's an energy poverty question and that Canada has a role to play. And one of the challenges for us is that the world demands more energy from us. And so we're always watching emissions intensity, because this is a bit of a conundrum for us, is that when we produce more energy to meet our own needs and the needs of others, our emissions can also go up as well. So what we've been working really hard on is reducing our emissions intensity over time. We're producing more energy, more emissions that come with it. We got to figure out how to curb that line down. And we've had some great success in that. But now we're moving to the next stage, which is we're actually trying to reduce our overall emissions in Canada while still providing that energy to ourselves and to our neighbors and the rest of the world.
Right.
So it's the transition, the transformation that's happening around the world is complicated, it's varied. We are very fortunate that we have multiple different forms of energy that we can rely on to do that. But we really do need to engage with people outside our own borders a whole lot more.
So you're here at Inlet Africa, and you've participated in a number of sessions, you've listened to other people. What is the key takeaway for you? And something that has been really surprising that you maybe learned for the first time?
I think, I think the world needs more Canada. It's a bit of it's a saying that I think Bono from U2 once said a number of years ago. And Canadians, we tell that to ourselves a lot. But really, when you look at it from an energy perspective, as a net energy exporter, as a country that takes the reduction of greenhouse gases seriously and who has made strong commitments to it. I mean, we are a Paris signatory, Paris Climate Accord signatory. We have visions toward net zero by 2050. Our governments, both provincial and federal, have set strong targets that we are expected to meet and commit to, while also providing more energy for ourselves and others. This is our challenge. And really, we need to work with more countries around the world to adopt their good ideas and what they've been successful at within our own borders, and then also to share what we've been learning with them as well. We enjoy great energy security in Canada. We are ranked as number one in energy security, again, owing to all the different forms that we have and the way that we make them work together. For us, it's not, I wouldn't say it's because we're necessarily inherently better at any of this, but it's very necessary for us to be good at energy in Canada. Energy for us, we go from -30 to +30 in our temperatures. Energy for us is a matter of life and death in Canada.
That's Fahrenheit.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Celsius.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and in fact, you know, Celsius and Fahrenheit cross at the same temperature. We go lower than minus 40 in some of our different parts of our country. So we need to be warm. We need to be well lit, and so it's sort of like we better be good at this in Canada. But what we're seeing now is that having built a very strong system for ourselves, having interconnected very strongly with the United States as well, and building a very energy secure North America, it's time for us to look elsewhere and engage and look at some of these shared challenges and assist where we can, where we're wanted, where we're needed, and really try to deliver more Canada, as the saying goes.
Yeah, well, we look forward to seeing you here again next year at Inlet Africa.
Very nice. Well, thank you very much. It's been wonderful. This is a terrific conference. Learned a lot, and look forward to more.
Oh, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
To all our viewers, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.